Hello! Today we're going to learn how to make holes in an object in Onshape. We're going to start off by creating this sample part right here, and we're going to create a hole right here using the hole button instead of the extrude button. So I want to show you how to use the hole button. As a preview, the hole button is located right here. It looks like an object with a hole, and in order to have a hole you have to have a sketch point. So when we draw this shape, we're going to create a sketch point so that we can draw this hole. So once again, when we're drawing this object, we have to imagine, is it easier to draw this from the front view, from the side view, from the top view? Because like for example, from the side view, this is just going to look like a long thin rectangle. The same as from the front view. So from my perspective, I think it is way easier to draw this object from the top view. And if you look at it, you can see from the top view, if we start in like this corner, that we can draw, for example, a rectangle that is 38 by, oh no, not 38, 38 plus 12. What's 38 plus 12? 50. So this rectangle over here is 50 by 65. So I'm going to start off by drawing on the top view a rectangle, and I'm going to view it from the top, and I'm going to create a rectangle that is 38 by 65. And I'm going to go to a center point rectangle so I can reference this center point right here. Alright, 65, 50. Alright, that's pretty big. I can't see my whole object. So I'm going to double click the center scroll wheel so it zooms out to fit. And then I'm going to roll my wheel out a little more so that I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to scooch my dimensions over. Okay, so I have this shape. The next thing I want to do is add a circle to the end. And it looks like this circle has a radius of 25 or a diameter of 50. So I'm going to draw it, and I want it to be like at this point right here. That's where I want the center to be. So if I click center point circle, hopefully I can get it to like snap to that spot. And if you look, you can see it's at the perfect midpoint when there's like a little rectangle that appears. And if I click here and just move my mouse to the end point, it should create me a circle that is perfectly 50, because you might remember this box has a length of 50. So as I click, you can see it is perfectly lined up. I'm going to use the trim button, which is these scissors, and I'm going to remove some of the inner lines to create this nice arc shape. You'll notice that when I did so, that my dimensions disappeared. It no longer knows, for example, the size of my object. So I'm going to have to add back in that this distance right here is 65. And you can see that it turns black again. So the next thing I have to do is give it a thickness, it looks like, of 12. So I'm going to extrude this. Check. I'm going to view it at an angle so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Here we go, and I'm going to extrude it to a thickness of 12. Perfect. So now it's in the same orientation as the drawing right here. And it looks like my next step is going to be to add this like little rectangle over here. It looks like this rectangle I'm going to want to draw from the top. So what I'm going to draw is this surface right here, which is 30 by 12. So I'm going to click on the top surface, sketch, and I'm going to want to draw, starting in this corner, a box that is 30 by 12. So I'm going to click the Use button so that I can reference the sides of this object. I want to reference this side, and I want to reference this side. And I'm going to draw a box right here in this top corner. Oops, I want to make this a corner rectangle. And I want it to be 30 by 12. So when I view it now from an angle, you can see it is a little rectangle right here. And now I want to give it some thickness. It looks like the thickness it's going to get is 25. So I'll click the extrude button and type in 25. When I do so, you can see that I am adding material to the existing part. I don't want to create a new part, I want to add material. Check. There you go. Looks pretty close so far. Our last step is to add a hole. So in order to have a hole, we need to have a point to put that hole on. So I'm going to draw a new sketch on this top surface. And I'm going to want to use this shape in order to put a hole in that spot. If I don't use this shape, it's not going to know where the center of this circle was. So I'm going to click Use, and you can see when I do so that this little dot appears right in the perfect spot for me to place this point. So I'm going to click Point, and I'm going to place a point right there in that spot. And you can see as I do so that it changes to like an open hole shape. Check. So my very last step is to put a hole right here where I have that point. I'm going to click the Hole button, and you can see as I hover over it, it'll give me some instructions. It says select a hole style and specify the size, select the end condition, and then select the point. So I want to choose the type of hole. For me, that's going to be a simple hole. I'm going to choose the size, and it looks like the diameter of this hole should be 25, so I'm going to type 25, and then it wants me to choose a point to place the hole. So I'm going to click this point, and you can see it automatically creates a hole for me. There's some other cool options here in hole that we're not going to use, but you can create a counter bore hole that will create, like, see this little picture right here. That's what you use for like screws that you want to sink in and have flat. There's a countersink hole. We're not going to use those. We're just using the simple hole button, but I wanted to show you that there's some more options in there besides the simple hole. We've created our hole. I'm going to press check. Nice. So we have created our example. Good work. Your guys' next mission is to create one of the two shapes shown using a hole. This one is pretty easy. I would draw this object from the side, and I would make, for example, a circle, and then once I have that circle, I would make like a rectangle off that circle, and then put another circle here that I trim, just like we did in our last step. And then a few other circles here. Whereas for this guy, I might draw it from the top in order to create this shape. Remember, you've created something similar to this before, right? And then I would draw this rectangle and extrude that to a different height. And then, like, from the side, I might draw this shape. Let me know if you need some help drawing these shapes. I am here for you. You got this.